Unfortunately, crises are the new normal. And I think a period where we are not dealing with multiple challenges, security challenges, crisis at the same time, that time is no longer with us.
How can we better prepare to face these multiple overlying crises?
We know that we are as strong as our weakest link. Not one country, not one institution, not one organization is perfectly prepared for everything.
Welcome to Resilience Talks, a new episode where we bring experts from the top international organizations to talk to you about the latest discussions in resilience and what we can do in order to improve the resilience of our states. And we're very happy to have with us today Ms. Novakova, who is the head of the Euro-Atlantic Disaster Response Coordination Center. It's a mouthful. As all NATO institutions, it has a nice acronym, EADRCC. And she's joining us in Bucharest for a joint exercise that we're doing between the EARC, the Euro-Atlantic Resilience Center, the EADRCC, and Romania's DSU, the Department for Emergency Situations, where we are exploring how international cooperation can work to alleviate disasters and to improve the lives of the people. Ms. Novakova, welcome to Bucharest and welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you today and a pleasure to be in Bucharest.
Now, can you tell us more about the objectives of this joint event between the EARC and your institutions? Why are we here in Bucharest?
NATO is putting a lot of attention on resilience. Of course, collective defense is our core mission, and keeping 1 billion people safe in our alliance is the most important purpose of NATO. And as part of that, resilience is an important component of staying safe and being able to recover when an emergency, whether a crisis or conflict, affects us. We see that war has returned to Europe, and we all know that we all need to improve our ability to respond to the challenges that we face. The Euro-Atlantic Disaster Response Coordination Center is a small tool, a coordination tool, but it's part of our mission to support our countries, allies of NATO, as well as partner countries, to be safer together and better able to respond to security challenges, disasters, crises, complex emergencies, whatever it is. And this event that brings us here today, in cooperation with Romanian partners, friends, experts, is an event as part of this effort to be closer, more resilient, stronger together to respond to complex challenges. We have a discussion where participants, experts, policymakers, diplomats from the countries around the Black Sea come together to share experiences and share their knowledge of managing the security challenges that we also share. Because together we are stronger, and we also have, in addition to the theoretical discussion, we have a practical component because we are practitioners, we are operational people. We have an exercise that brings us together around a very realistic, fictitious scenario that takes place in a region similar to the Black Sea region. And right now, people are discussing, counting, calculating, and figuring out how to manage a complex crisis. So it's all very practical as well as operational.
That's fascinating. So, in your experience, and it's very important that you have managed to cross the line between EU institutions. Now you're working for a NATO institution, so you have become accustomed to the way civilians think and to the way the militaries operate. So, in your experience in a crisis scenario, each of these organizations, each of these worlds brings to the table something new, a different skill set. Would you say that one is better prepared than the other to handle crises or not?
NATO is the strongest political military alliance in the world and in history. So it's natural that we combine these strengths from the civilian side and from the military side to come to solutions to complex security challenges that we face. the security environment is unprecedented. We see war in Europe. We see extreme weather bringing more disasters. We see urbanization, meaning that all challenges affect more people at the same time. We see, of course, that in our highly technologically developed world, there are cascading effects, and everything, whether it's a power cut, affects so many other areas. Whether it's a challenge to our infrastructure,
And much more
roads.
than the past.
Yes, much more today than in the past. And we know that no single actor can respond to these complex challenges alone, whether it's a state, whether it's a powerful alliance, whether it's the European Union, whether it's the military or the civilians. The only way to get better at keeping our people safe is to act together. And today's event is part of this effort to work together to solve the complex problems that we have.
So, over your career in these international organizations, have you noticed any adaptations, any new ways, any lessons learned that because over the past few years we seem to be heading from one crisis to the next? So, are we learning in how are we better prepared now to face crisis than we were, let's say, before the pandemic?
Yes, we are learning. We are adapting. The challenges evolve, and our ability to deal with them also evolves. And you say that we seem to be moving from crisis to crisis. Unfortunately, crises are the new normal. And I think a period where we are not dealing with multiple challenges, security challenges, crisis at the same time, that time is no longer with us. So we need to improve our ability to respond constantly. So it's not solution and then we forget about it. We saw with COVID how interrelated the health and security and information challenges are, and how interrelated our responses needed to be. So that's part of the new normal. Yes, we are adapting. Everyone's adapting at a different pace depending on their abilities and their needs. We know that we are not well adapted, and perhaps will never be. So adaptation needs to be part of our mindset. That's what NATO is doing. That's what nations are doing. And events like this and organizations like the EARC are part of the solution, helping us move forward on the road of adaptation.
Yes, and because we are very big on cooperation, international cooperation between government, private sector, academia, and so on. So how does your organization handle cooperation? How do you coordinate with EU, with United Nations, so as not to duplicate efforts when we handle crises and disasters?
The NATO Secretary General likes to say that cooperation is in NATO's DNA. And that's also true for our center, which has been working on cooperation, coordination, especially in crisis, ever since we were created. We are exploring how we can best support our allies and our partners by bringing together relevant organizations. And this is using NATO's power of bringing people and organizations and expertise together for the benefit of our security and the security of our region. So we work with civilian or military, policymaking practitioners to learn, to listen, to explore together how we can improve their collective ability to respond. This is our contribution to preparedness, and also our contribution to this complex term, interoperability. Because by bringing people together, they learn from each other, and then when a real emergency forces them to work together, they have the experience. They know who to call, and they know each other's mandates, and also how to come together.
So that also applies to you. You know EU's number, you know the UN's number, and you can coordinate with them in a crisis.
We not only can, but we do. And we don't wait for a crisis. We coordinate regularly so that we exchange information. We know each other's counterparts. And on the staff level, we have a very good working relationship. So I'm confident that this mechanism would serve us well when we need to work together, deconflict, reinforce each other in a real emergency.
I see. That's great to hear. So tell us more about your organization. What sets you apart from other international organizations that handle crises? And what exactly happens when you receive a request for assistance? You've been involved in several of these high profile, like the earthquake in Turkey or COVID and so on.
The EADRCC is a small tool, and coordination is our bread and butter. It's what we do. Um, what what we are is first a solidarity tool
Mhm.
for NATO allies and partners when an emergency, a disaster, an industrial incident, a complex crisis hits one country. It's part of the NATO all for one and one for all principle to support each other, and we are an expression of that solidarity. In addition to a solidarity tool, we are cooperation and coordination tool. An affected country needs all the help that it can get, but this help needs to arrive in a well coordinated manner so that it doesn't overwhelm the national capacities when they're already struggling to respond. So we coordinate with the national authorities, with the military authorities, with the international organizations, including the European Union, including the UN, to make sure that international assistance is delivered in a way that is where and how it's most useful for the affected country. Solidarity tool, coordination tool, and a civil military interaction tool. Um, so, as I said, we and what sets us apart from other organizations is that we can bring to bear the resources of the strongest military alliance. And that includes civilian expertise, coordination knowledge, and also military assets that our allies and partner countries could make available to each other in an emergency response. And finally, we are also a capacity building tool. We help countries within our alliance, but also our partners, to get better prepared, better
For the
ability
crisis.
to improve their ability to respond and do so collectively. So those are our core missions. The EADRCC is not an answer to every question. We are not there for every crisis, for every emergency. Of course, nations are first and foremost responsible for their security and what happens on their territory. And also, resilience is first and foremost a national responsibility. Where we can help is when there is a very complex emergency and where NATO's assets can add value. COVID has been, of course, the most complex crisis in which we have been involved in. We have also supported Ukraine's capacity to support their civilian population. The State Emergency Service of Ukraine has been our partner, so we have worked with them to train them. We have increased their resources with medical capacities, ambulances, and other elements of solidarity of NATO allies with Ukraine. And of course, major natural disasters have been part of our work, including the big earthquakes that hit Turkey in early 2023. We coordinated a massive international response from NATO allies as well as partners as far away as Japan. So the fact that we have a network of NATO partners that crosses several four continents is also part of our strength.
Indeed. And it's obvious that your organization shines in the midst of a crisis. But what do you do proactively? What do you do in order to strengthen the capacity of member states or partner states to face crisis? How do you train them? How do you support them in capacity building before the crisis strikes?
Um, not, not two countries are the same, and the needs differ. So first, we ask them, our allies, our partners, what can we do to work together, and how can we support you? What are your needs, your specific training requirements, and what are the areas where NATO can add value? And then once we understand their needs, we work together to help them get the relevant expertise and training, capacity building platforms or skill sets that helps that unique countries or that unique national institutions' requirements. NATO is, of course, a military alliance, it's a political alliance, but it's also a community that pulls together expertise and knowledge. And so we can draw from that expertise to help countries bolster their resilience, their preparedness, civil military cooperation and coordination, their host nation support capabilities, or anything else where NATO can add value.
Yeah, and so countries would first need to learn of their vulnerabilities and their weak spots in order to make a request of you for training. And perhaps this is where instruments like the Enhanced Analytic Resilience Index that the Euro-Atlantic Resilience Center is preparing can focus the attention of decision makers on possible areas of vulnerability. And the exercises that we do together or separately are also very useful for these countries to understand where the weakness is in order to address it.
You're right, and in fact, our tool, our center is an operational center, but we rely on experts that have a more strategic overview of policymaking, of national systems, and what works, what doesn't work, including the EARC, to help us understand how we can best contribute.
Now we see that it's not just the disasters in themselves that are the problem, but increasingly we see that we live in polycrisis. Natural disasters are compounded by disinformation waves or even hybrid attacks. So how can we better prepare to face these multiple overlying crises?
We know that we are as strong as our weakest link. So whether at the national level or at the supranational level, at the international cooperation level, we need to start with the awareness that not one country, not one institution, not one organization is perfectly prepared for everything. Awareness is our first weapon. Understanding our vulnerabilities, understanding our needs, being open with ourselves, with each other, and discussing, learning from each other's knowledge is a first step. And then constant improvement is the only available solution. Unfortunately, at a time of constant crisis, there is not one answer to every question. There is no silver bullet that would make us all of a sudden at the top of our game, prepared, resilient to everything. The challenges evolve. We see now all these incursions in European airspace at an unprecedented level. We see security challenges in the Black Sea of the kind that we have not seen before. We see overlapping emergencies, as you say. We see hybrid. We see, of course, the effects of extreme weather that complicate our environment. And so we need to constantly work on improving rather than try to do one thing and live with the illusion that we are ready. Learning from past experiences is also very important. And that's why we need experts like the EARC to help us develop lessons learned and help us get better for the next big thing by learning from the last big thing.
NATO, as an organization, does not really own assets. I assume neither does your center. You're working with nation states and trying to get them to contribute to common efforts. Have you seen any evolution in this area? More solidarity, less solidarity? What's your assessment?
Our strength is a collective strength. And the solidarity among allies is beyond question. We have seen this solidarity come to bear time after time, emergency after emergency, and we see it in the political declarations of our leaders when they met for their summit in The Hague earlier this year. They confirmed the solidarity and mutual capacity of NATO and its readiness to respond to every security challenge and defend our population against any threat. But this beyond the political statements, we see this solidarity every day. We see it in NATO's forward presence here in the Black Sea region. We see it in our cooperation and coordination with partners. We see it in NATO headquarters, where allies come together multiple times every day to discuss and come together with collective solutions to our collective problems. And of course, we see it in our support for Ukraine, which remains strong and high. And I'm sure that whatever challenge we need to face next, we'll face it together. And this solidarity will be confirmed once again.
Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful things of being part of these organizations like the EU, like NATO, is seeing how people can come together, particularly when the crisis hits.
It's the only way, in fact, to these shared problems, shared solutions.
We've been talking about how crises overlap, how things seem to happen all of this at the same time. Is there a pattern to this chaos? NATO member states have agreed to up their expenses, to increase the amounts that they give to not only to military preparedness, but also the 1.5% of GDP that needs to go to civil preparedness and other areas that enhance military preparedness. So is there any advice that you would give to member states? Where are the key areas that they should be focusing their attention?
The focus of our allies is a decision that they take together. NATO as an organization is there to enable them to take those decisions. But allies are the ones that set the priorities, and they chart forward the path for solving these complex problems. It's together that we find patterns in the chaos, and only by doing what our leaders pledged that we would do, we can move forward stronger. And that's what's happening at NATO. It's not always an easy path, and it's not always a glamorous path that can easily be explained or very visible. The steps can be small, but there are many. And I think that every day, NATO and NATO allies work to make our people safer.
Now we are in Bucharest doing this joint exercise alongside our friends from the Department of Emergency Situations. How do events like these figure into your vision for what the organization should be offering to member states?
I think it's essential, and it's part of what we do, bringing together experts, bringing together policymakers, and bringing together different viewpoints. So at this event, we have representatives from 3 NATO countries and also 3 non-NATO countries that share the same geographical region and that share some of the same security challenges, but that approach them from their different viewpoints. We have diplomats from embassies, so experts in foreign policy. We have practitioners from the Department of Emergency Situations. We have experts in telecommunications. We have experts in agriculture. We have military officers, and we have the United Nations. We have the European Union with us. So bringing them all together around the shared challenge or set of challenges and topics that we discuss, we hope that we will all leave Bucharest more tired, but full of ideas and full of practical solutions that we will bring to our own organizations and to our own skill sets and options for solutions. That is the point, and I'm very happy that we have been able to partner with our Romanian counterparts to realize this event. Upstairs, there is a lot of energy, a lot of buzz, a lot of interaction, and a lot of mutual learning. And this is part of what makes it valuable. The network that we create, that we bring together, and the ability to learn from each other and do something practical together.
This is indeed a meeting of the minds, because your goals are so close to the goals and to the vision that we at our center also have. So there's one thing that you'd like to for our participants to take away from this event, from this exercise. What would that be?
I hope that it will be more than one thing, but if there is one idea that I hope people will remember from this interaction, outside of the warmth and hospitality of our Romanian host, is the reminder that only together we can be stronger, and only together we can find solutions to these very complex challenges that our generation and our present is bringing forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time from this very busy event. You are there, very present and guiding things. So we're grateful that you took the time to stay with us and share your thoughts. And we hope to see you again soon in Bucharest.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope that we will achieve our joint objectives together. Thank you
so much. Thanks so much. And you, dear listeners, stay in touch, and we'll be seeing you next time with the next episode of Resilience Talks.